about Puerto Ricans as Americans. Americans in the broadest definition, as really from the Americas, because we're not the only Americans, right? Other people in South America and the Caribbean claim that same term. Two, the idea of being Americans as quite often we do, right, as American as a citizen. So I think that needs to be really made clear. And I saw some documents that could be used for Socratic seminars, which can be taught pretty easily to teachers just by doing it. Now, Socratic seminars can be complex. However, I've seen elementary kids do it. You just take a text and they analyze it and then they discuss it. And they run it, not so much the teacher. The teacher as a facilitator. Also, I noticed that the African American Museum, when I went online to piggyback on their excellent exhibits, had a teacher's guide that is rather good. That could be a model, okay? And I started looking at it and said, wow, they're almost doing Socratic seminars, but they're doing it with visuals. Of course, we have been talking about visuals too. So actually, you might not call it a Socratic seminar, but you could have kids look at, and even adults look at images of Puerto Rican culture and say, what does it really mean, okay? Also the idea of a living history experience, and this might be an expansion of your cultural fair that you're talking about, but add perhaps student-created mini plays. The kids do research, probably at high school and middle school age, and then it might only be 2 or 3 minutes long. Or they even portray part of their history as living statues. Anybody know what a living statue is? A human being that just freezes, but it freezes in a particular situation, and then it actually you have this dialogue with everybody else trying to figure out what they're trying to portray. You could also have students, I found a play that was written by Puerto Rican students in 1976 about how life was under the Rizzo administration. And I didn't read every single word, but it was clear that they were giving an opinion that they weren't too fond of the situation. Well, you could have that maybe put on, and then also students maybe putting one on what their situation is today and comparing those two. I think also I've heard this morning, that truly Puerto Ricans are in limbo in 2 places. In this country and also with their affiliation to Puerto Rico, and I think this needs to be clarified. So one of the documents that really needs to be talked about, even though you think of laws being very boring, is the Jones Act of Puerto Rico, which I think is, 1918? There was 17. There were several of them. There were several Jones Acts on different issues. And then there was another one that was even talking about Philadelphia. I thought a theme could be Philadelphia as a city of brotherly love and prejudice. Its dichotomy. Ironically, Philadelphia's name and also its Quaker start and all that was attraction for people coming from around the world. And they didn't always get along, right? Because human nature is you want your territory and want your life best and not so worry about the other groups. But why did people come to Philadelphia? Why was it a city of immigration so much? Why was it a city that actually had people during colonial times speaking, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 languages? And that's still the case now. Most people aren't aware of that. And the last thing I thought would be Puerto Ricans in Philadelphia about 1920 to the present, so the last 100 years, some type of interactive map. It could be maybe an exhibit here where it would be students making and just putting Post-its on, or it could be online. There's interactive maps you can also do with programs. So those are some of my ideas. So I think I got all of my themes. Yes, thank you.